So,
Okay.
okay, like I said, I don't know. Gwen usually comes a little later, and I don't know about, I haven't heard from either Stephanie or Bill, so. So anyway,
I'll text Stephanie.
okay, great, thanks, Janet.
I move we approve the minutes.
Okay, good.
I'll second.
All right. And the dog thirds.
No, that was an aye.
Okay, maybe we can start out by, Pam, you can unmute yourself and we'll listen to the serenade of the yawns while we
Okay.
sort of talk about our trash kind of episode.
Oh, yeah. Not a big success. One volunteer showed up, who was your friend, Loretta, who was gonna clean Pumpkin Hill Road, and that was it. Oh, there I go again. Jesus.
Sue Harkness showed up on Sunday.
You and Janet and I cleaned
Right.
a great deal on, now, where did you
North
go,
Road.
Pam?
North Road.
I'm here.
And
Anyway, the
Floating
three of
road.
us cleaned a
Floating road.
lot of North Road on Sunday.
Right.
Sue did a little, or part of it on a Saturday, and then we joined her for our Sunday thing.
Mhm.
And I
Right.
haven't heard from anyone else in terms of whether
Me
they did
either.
cleaning on their own or anything like that.
I haven't either.
Well,
And
no, Steve
um,
said something. Steve said he picks up on Varga.
Yeah, Steve had left a message
Right.
about that he has made a special effort to remove litter on the dirt part of Varga. And we know, Pam, because we did, remember that couple
Oh
years
my
ago, when we
God.
did Varga, there
Yes.
is a lot there because there's
Yeah.
a lot of people flow there.
Right.
And then he also does the northern section of Wormwood Hill from the farm, Paradise Farm to Route 44. You know, so
Right.
that's an ongoing thing. And I do think there are several people who do ongoing things. and
Yes,
don't
there are.
let
there are.
us know, but I noticed there was less on the first part of North Road from 44 to the Camp Road. And then there was more trash from there to the junction with, what is that? That's floating, right, Janet?
Mhm.
Yeah, there was more on that section, but the first section was not so much. I was a little surprised with that.
I
Wow.
think there was less all along North Road
Uh-huh,
than there was previous years.
yeah.
Well, Loretta and I discussed on Saturday when we were standing all alone in the parking lot that maybe this is not the best way to rally people around our mission to clean up Ashford. And I put on Facebook, I've asked for suggestions. I haven't gotten any yet, but
Pam, you
there's
know,
got to be a better way.
it might be that springtime is better because
Yeah,
people
we
sort
did
of,
say that.
you just, yeah.
Mhm.
I think
Yeah.
we should try it again in the spring
Right,
and maybe
absolutely.
advertise it for a few months and make sure it gets, was it in, one of those squares on the front web page of the town website?
Yes, it was,
I-
it is, yeah,
yeah,
on the
I
town.
asked them to post it, Cheryl.
But I also think that, and I mentioned this to Pam when we were talking, the very fact that it was the first weekend after the elections, I think a lot of people forgot about it or really were tired out. And so I don't think that it was the best timing. And maybe we need to think about that. But I also agree with you, Janet, that it may be better to schedule in the spring. Because I think it is hard with the leaves down to see something.
Yeah.
You really have to sort of pick through the leaves, or at least that's what happened to me a couple of times, to find it. Whereas I find it much easier in the springtime.
Well, and I stepped on a bunch of acorns and almost just went down. I
Oh,
mean,
wow.
that was on 89. And I mean, that was dangerous actually. And it was too cold. I mean, I lasted 20 minutes before my hands started to hurt. And it was like, oh, can't do anymore. It was very painful. But I also mentioned that Pomfret has a townwide cleanup weekend in the spring. And I thought maybe I'd try and get in touch with the town and see really what they asked the people to do and how they organized it and how successful is it. Because when I drive through Pomfret, it looks pretty clean. It's not immaculate, but it looks better like than our 44 does. But I guess we can't touch that anyway. We're not supposed to.
Right, we're not supposed to do any of the
right.
state roads, so that's
Right.
44 and 89 and
Yeah.
74,
Yeah,
which tend to be the most cluttered.
of course, they're awful. Just awful. But, I agree. Springtime's going to be better. It's clearer. No growth is started.
And we need kids.
Oh, I've tried with,
You
E.O. Smith. Well, even E.O. Smith and, is a community service and they don't want to do it. When kids show up, they're not dressed right. They last about 45 minutes and then they're gone. Very few have stuck with it and really, really tried. They're a little flaky. That's all I can say. Little flaky.
Well, another thing that might work is that Tom King, who is the chair of Ashford Business Association, at one point had asked Susan Eastwood and I if we could talk about how we might work together on things in the town. And I think if we ask them to help us publicize a day in the spring, or like have a day and then a rain date, I think that might get a little bit more people involved. To come out for that specific day, and if it's raining, go to a rain date. That might sort of have it be more of a town project, because
Right.
there'll be a lot of people who are invested, because it seemed to work out pretty well last year when we had Eon with the truck and
Oh, it was
his
great.
family helping and everything. So I think if we can maybe set that up for next time, that might really help make it go a little better. And to recognize that there are people who are cleaning. Like I know my neighbor oftentimes comes through Pumpkin Hill Road and cleans that. She did that last year and she does it on a regular basis too. So I think there are people in town who do that. And I don't know about James Road. I haven't really looked as I've driven there, because James Road is another well-traveled road that usually has a lot of litter on it. And maybe the other thing is that we can pick 4 or 5 roads just to focus on in the spring.
Right.
Because that may help, other than the 44 and the 89 and the 74.
Right.
To look at some of these other roads.
The roads on the way to the dump.
Yeah.
Yep.
Station. Sorry.
Yeah.
True.
So maybe we can do that, and we might have more luck on that. And think about what other ways that we can get more people involved. I mean, I know at one point somebody told me that E.O. Smith has a sort of a group of people, a green energy or something, group of people who are very interested in the environment. And maybe we could enlist them.
Yeah.
Or their teacher, whoever their teacher is who
Right.
has this club or group. Because I think one year we did get a couple of people from there, but we could also give them credit. I think they can get credit for doing town activities.
Yeah, I
So-
mean, it'd be great. I have written a couple letters to kids that did come in and help.
Uh-huh.
I think twice they wanted letters for community service and I provided them.
Mhm.
Was happy to. So yes, that's another thing that we can look into.
Yeah,
I can look into.
We could get the business people to do a competition between two businesses. Make teams, make two teams in the business community.
That's a good idea.
okay, so all those are good ideas that we can look at and work towards for the spring. And see if we can have it be more of a one-shot, town organized deal, and talk when we're doing that about it needs to be an ongoing kind of thing during the year for people, particularly on the streets where they live, you know. because
Right, right.
that's- people go by and they see the stuff all the time. You know, it is
Sure.
too bad that, you know, so many of what I saw on North Road were Cumberland Farms
Cups.
coffee cups. So that
Oh
was a
my
little-
God, they're everywhere.
Styrofoam too. There's
Styrofoam cup,
styrofoam.
right.
Ugh,
So the next thing I had on this, on the schedule is the last time we had talked about what our meeting schedule should be, and we came up with keeping it the same, the third Monday of the month. But I checked with Cheryl, who schedules the Zoom meetings or the GoTo meetings or whatever, online stuff. And I asked her if there were other times that we wouldn't have to keep rescheduling, because that's really hard for people when you reschedule, you know, okay, they got in their mind the third Monday, and then every other Monday, we can't do it at that time
Right.
because the rec department also has a meeting on that day. So Cheryl said that if we went to the fourth Monday, we wouldn't have the conflict.
Oh, that'd be great.
That's what we
So-
used to be.
Yeah, so maybe that's the thing to do.
Yeah,
So that we don't have, and I think part of the conflict with the third, I think that's also the Board of Selectmen meeting also. So maybe
Oh,
if we
yeah.
just change there and see if, hi Gwen.
Hi,
To
Gwen.
see if that fourth Friday would work, excuse me,
Monday.
fourth Monday would work, so we could just put it on our calendar and know it's not going to change unless some emergency came up or something like that. Knowing also, I'm not sure whether we're going to switch at some point to in-person meetings. Since Bill Folletti is going to be the first selectman, and part of their platform said, I think,
Open up the buildings, right?
as I read it, that we were going back in the building. But I also think that probably we're still going to have to do some sort of Zoom, because I think we'll have to provide that for people who don't want to come back in the building. But anyway,
It's super hard to do hybrid.
Well,
yeah,
they've set it up so that it's possible to do it.
Ugh.
so
done
needless
hybrid.
to say, if we can just approve, you know, changing it to the fourth Monday.
Yes.
That's what we used to have, right, Loretta?
Right. So if we can do that, I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that we won't have to keep changing back around, which I know
That was
is
ideal. I loved it when it was the fourth Monday, and it used to be 7:30.
Right. Well, I don't
Made a
think
lot of
anybody wants
changes.
to move it to 7:30, so we got to stay with the 7. But we can do the fourth Monday. So when we get the request from the town clerk to give our meeting schedule, I'll just do the 7 o'clock on the fourth Monday, if that's okay with everybody.
Excellent.
Okay.
Yeah,
great.
because when we switch to Tuesday or Wednesday, that screws me up because I have other meetings on those days.
Right. Right.
Yeah, I work Tuesday. There's no way I could make it. Thank you for making it on a Monday.
Okay, all right, so the next thing that I had that I just wanted to update people is that Jennifer, who is our new coordinator for the pollinators pathway, has been connecting up with the regional people. I had seen in Neighbors, there was an article, I think it was the August Neighbors, that Margaret Chahy wrote an article about regional pollinators pathways. Did you happen to see that, Christine?
I'm not sure. I think maybe I did.
Okay, well, anyway, when I contacted her, because I said, I don't think you know that we have a coordinator now, blah, 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 and all that. And she said, yes, she had primarily written that because Ginny Walton from Mansfield and Jean Dismay from Willimantic, who have both been very active in the pollinators pathway, are working hard to do more regional coordinated things and get other people involved. So I checked with Jennifer and she was okay about exchanging emails. So they are contacting her and she's up to date on them. So we're kind of in the loop now, hopefully, that we will know what they're doing and they will know what we're doing. And we can maybe, particularly maybe this spring, do more coordinating of maybe educational programs or what other people are doing. And I know Willimantic, because I've seen a lot of signs around pollinators pathway kind of thing. So they've been pretty active and I think they might have actually gotten a grant too. So that it sounds like it's really good. And Jennifer is going to go ahead and give a setup on winter break from teaching. She will set up a website that we'll have available to us and everything. So I'm pretty excited about that and hoping that that will really take off, and that she was going to also work with the garden club to see other people are interested. I think Marion Matthews was also going to work with her. So it seems like we got some energy for doing this, and we'll continue on. And you know, the hope, of course, is that COVID will be a little less active during the spring, so maybe we can do more in-person things or have another kind of thing of like showcasing gardens, like Christine, you did 2 programs, and maybe we can sort of schedule that again for the springtime.
You know, I was looking ahead at one of our next topics, the initiatives, what we want to consider using funds for, and the things about sidewalks.
Mhm.
I started thinking, wouldn't it be cool to have a bunch of small pollinator gardens that people could walk to on sidewalks? You know,
Uh-huh.
you know, little ones like well, the post office, that he already has one. I mean, if we could get him to make that be even more pollinators, maybe put in one somewhere beside that other little strange where Hope and Wellness is, maybe put in another one where we own that piece of land beside the road going towards the
Ashford Park.
Park. Yeah, we own that little, wouldn't there be neat to have a little garden there? But if there were sidewalks all along interconnecting all those, it would be kind of cool. So anyway, I was just thinking about that.
Well, that's a good thought. And I did let Jennifer know about the post office person who would seem to me might be receptive to the pollinator kind of thing and native species and stuff like that. And also, I think she's cleared to include the little pollinators garden that Marion put in front of Knowlton.
Right.
If you're facing Knowlton, it's on the right side.
Yep.
So all of those things are really good ideas. And I think that the fact that we do have a coordinator now will really help to sort of pull things along and provide more education for people in terms of that. First of all, that it doesn't need to be a big place, that they don't have to have, they can have a very small garden, and, you know, helping people understand to ask questions like, is this a native species kind of thing and all that, which sounds really simple, but a lot of people don't do that when they go to nurseries. And we know that nurseries do a big business selling invasive, you know,
Yeah.
like
Right.
burning bush, for instance,
Yeah,
right?
right. They're
Right.
everywhere.
So I think Jennifer
Correct.
seems to be pretty good about keeping us up to date on things that she does. Yeah, Gwen.
Okay, I just came from the Eastern Connecticut Conservation District meeting and they talked about installing rain gardens. And they did like about 7. Towns can request a garden installation, and the grant funds pay for this, but the plants or pollinator plants that are installed in these rain gardens. And this is something that we've been doing for years and years and years. So this is just another possibility. I just tossed that option out.
Yeah, and I remember that there was a strong possibility that Jean was gonna do a rain garden beside the town hall between the parking lot on the lower level and the river. So
It wasn't a good option. We found out that did not work that spot, but we did install one at Perry Hill Estates in Ashford. But there are many other options, and Christine just brought one up, a different place. There's so many other spots that would be good.
Yeah.
mhm.
Well,
Okay.
actually, where you were thinking of by the town hall was sort of on the, that didn't make sense, but if you look at the town hall parking lot, that lower one, there is a grid or a grate that water flows directly into the river. I mean, just go to the end of that parking lot and look.
Oh, no,
It's-
we did. We assessed the site.
Direct flow into there's nothing to stop flow directly of all the exhaust and crap from that
That
driveway.
goes directly into the river? I thought it,
It goes directly into go look at it. Just go look at it. Look at that lower edge. So as you drive into the lower parking
I
lot.
know where the grade is. I just thought it
Well,
was,
go just look straight ahead at that
Uh-huh.
lower corner and just look at it and see what you think. Everything just will flow directly from the whole parking lot into the river. No stopping it, nothing. It's just really poorly angled.
The drainage catch basins was some reason why it wouldn't work. And the person assessing it is the one who assessed 36 towns. And there was a reason why that would not work.
What wouldn't work?
A rain garden.
Installing a rain garden in that
I'm
spot.
not even sure what a rain garden, I'm not even really talking about, I'm talking about that installation of that grate and drainage is just really screwed up. If you look at it.
Well, that's the thing. It wouldn't work with the rain garden. It was
I'm
incompatible.
not talking about a rain garden.
Oh,
I'm talking
okay.
about just look at that angled end of that parking lot and see what you think. It's just all kinds of wrong. And
Well,
I don't know if
maybe,
we can get that fixed
Christine,
somehow.
that's a good point you raised, and maybe part of what we can do, and maybe Gwen, you can help with this, of having Jean or someone else come back in and look at that and tell us if there's any suggestions that we might be able to do
Fix it.
to at least sort of semi-correct it, or look at how can we cut down on the pollution flowing into the Mount Hope. And
Right.
just see about that. And that could be a project that we could write a grant for at
Right.
some point. So if we had,
Yeah.
some water experts looking at that and giving us feedback, and Jean might have an idea of what kinds of grants we might be able to apply for. So
Now, did somebody on this committee research the size of the catch basin? They were going to go look in the records at Ashford.
I looked at the records and there's this
Yeah.
thing. Yeah, I pulled those. I have it somewhere. We talked about it at one meeting. I showed it to Steve and I don't know, it's this thing.
It would be good to have that if we're going to talk to Gina or whoever, to have some.
Yeah, but that's
That's
not the issue. Because that's way closer to the building. What the issue I'm talking about is that lower corner of the driveway, which is totally visible. Just go look at it. Just go look at
At
it.
the edge of the parking lot?
As you're turning into that lower parking lot, right? Look
Mhm.
straight
And-
ahead. Look straight
Okay.
ahead to your, and at that lower right-hand corner. Just look at that corner. Just look at it.
it's at the edge of the parking lot as you come down the
Right.
Mhm.
entrance road.
It's where the parking lot flows directly into the Mount Hope River. Just look at it.
Yeah.
You'll see.
Okay, Gwen, can you just check in at, at the next meeting or something, whether Jean or somebody else might be willing to come and discuss that. She could come to in our next Conservation Commission meeting and talk with us about it. It doesn't matter how, but maybe if we had more of her input, that would really help. And if there was something that she needed from us beforehand.
Okay, I could talk to her. Also, Dan Mullins was there with me walking in that exact spot.
Yeah, that's
Years
right.
ago.
I forgot that Dan was, yes, you're absolutely right. So you can just ask them and, to see if there's anything else we could do to remediate that so that it's not totally, running directly into the Mount Hope.
I didn't know if I could find it, and I just looked over right next to me, and here are the plans for that thing that you're talking about, Gwen. So I have them still.
Is there any way you could photograph that with your camera?
Look at it. No,
Oh,
no, there isn't. You want to come pick them up? You can come pick them up.
Okay.
It's blueprints. It's these things. See this? Want to photograph it, Ben? Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah, that could be important.
Okay,
You want it? You can come get it if you want it.
do you want to come, do you want to go and get that? from
Sure. I
Christina?
mean, she lives up the road from me. I could go, yes, I could go
Okay, good.
this weekend.
Okay, so Gwen, you can be in touch with Christine and get the plans, the blueprints, whatever, and then we can go from there. They'll have that and see if that helps at all or whatever else need to be done.
Okay,
So we can work with them. That's all.
we're talking about a salt problem, a silt or toxins. What do you, Christine, what do you see as the biggest problem happening in that part of the parking lot?
So what goes into a parking lot? Exhaust. So all the crap from gasoline emissions, salt from when they plow and salt. That's probably the worst, all that stuff.
Mhm.
It's
that-
really the general residue in a parking lot that
Right.
happens, and
Road
that
residue.
residue is going unremediated into the water.
Right.
So that's the issue.
Okay.
Thanks for doing that.
No problem.
Okay, the only other big thing that I had, or just something that may not take so long, is I think everyone got the Clean Energy Task Force recommendations that they sent to the town about what kinds of suggestions to how to use the COVID funds.
Yep.
For the town. And so they asked us if we could also send in our belief that these suggestions that they made also are something that we would support. So
I
I
have
hope
it
everyone
open.
read through that. And
I have it open on my desktop if you want me to share it on the screen.
do people know what it is or want to see it on the screen? Yeah, why don't you do that?
Oh, host disabled. Okay, he has disabled that. I can't do it.
Okay, well, I think I sent it out, so I think most people saw it. Now, I know Janet, who is on the task force, I think she would probably agree with all
I
these
would agree
things.
with them, yes.
The suggestion that I had is, because I don't have anything that I would disagree with on this. The thing, something also that you had mentioned, Christine, is number 8, the sidewalks in town that would allow walking between
Yeah.
some areas. I mean, I think that's kind of some of what you were talking about too.
Yeah, I would love to see that, that would be, fostering community, which I'm into. And I would even add to that one, to the post office. So this says down to the liquor store in Memorial Park, but then down 74 to the those Hope and Wellness in the post office.
Okay. And the other thing that I thought really directly affects us specifically is the last 2 items, which are bike lanes and walking trails and maintenance. Which seems like those are 2 things that we've focused on in some ways and did some work on, particularly under Sustainability Connecticut. So it seems like both of those things, bike lanes to the school and around Ashford and walking trails and maintenance would be things that we would particularly highlight as things that we're really interested in supporting and have in the past done some work on. So-
The first selectman said that these hiking trails, like I guess at Memorial Park or behind the senior housing, were developed by volunteers, but there's no budget line for maintenance, and our town road crews aren't maintaining them. So if there's major or things that need money to be fixed, that the town doesn't do it.
Mhm. So we would encourage use of funds for maintenance of the trails or fixing up.
Right.
I guess, I mean, it just seems to me when I look through this that the more important things were like 4 and 5, the school HVAC and the HEPA filters. I mean, that to me seems like one of the most important things, even more than trails, but.
Does anyone else have anything that they want to add to that, or any concerns or questions that they might have? I mean, I for one, really like number 1, composting at the transfer station. Because, when you think about all of the waste that's just put in the trash, and the thing that I don't think the average person understands is how much we're paying for that. We are paying a huge amount that's only going to go up for our trash to be transported. And that directly affects our taxes. So it really affects everybody in town. And then people get really upset about taxes raising. But the fact is that over the last several years, the rate that the town has to pay for carting the tons to the Willie Waste has only increased, and it's increased a lot, and even increased from, we used to get a credit for recycling, and we don't get that credit anymore. We actually have to pay not as much for trash, but we still have to pay for recycling. So
I guess it seems to me more important than composting at the transfer station is making sure that what goes in the recycling is recyclable. And I don't know if there's a way to pay for making that better. I can't sort of imagine how we could do a composting there. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I just have a place I put it in my garden, but whatever. That's a major scene to do a composting thing at a transfer station.
In what way?
Like, first of all, you have to train everybody to what to bring so they don't bring all their meat scraps and other crap, and totally ruin it. And then when people do bring their meat scraps and other things that ruin it, then we have just a mess. I don't know. It's just sort of a scene.
Well, I think other towns have done it. We could find out what they do.
Yeah, I think we'd have to find out what they do.
And you're not necessarily going to get compost that you want to put in a vegetable garden, but you could get compost or dirt that you could use elsewhere.
Do we have the space for it?
I think so. They have the space. They have the that pile of bricks and concrete stuff, and then the brush, and then the leaves, and then there's space this to the left of that.
Good.
I'd actually rather focus on trying to make them not burn all the brush. Oh my God, did you see that scene
Mhm.
when they burned the brush a couple weeks ago? There was smoke everywhere. It was everywhere. It was totally disgusting.
Well, there are a lot of things that can be done and everything. And I think the issue that we're dealing with tonight is, do we want to okay that the suggestions by the Ashford Clean Energy Task Force is something that we also want to support?
Sure.
I think, Christine, you raise a good point about recycling, because Pam and I and Janet, and I think Stephanie too, did a lot of work a couple of years ago in trying to educate people
Right.
about what is recyclable and what is not. And there was not one person that got it right about what was to recycle and what was not. And
Right.
I think the other thing is that many people don't clean their recycling.
Right. So then they,
And if you don't clean the recycling, everything that's in there gets thrown in the trash.
is contaminated. I am guessing, I would guess that every single transfer station dump day has contaminated recyclable. I would guess, I mean, nobody watches it. Every idiot in the world brings something there. I mean, I can't imagine that we have any clean recyclables going out of there.
Well, and plus single stream just doesn't work.
Right. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah.
So now, I mean, if we wanted to do something at the transfer station, cleaning that up makes more sense to me than adding another composting thing that is a whole nother issue that people won't understand. You know what I'm saying?
I believe the transfer station committee is being started up again. I think it wasn't.
Has been, yeah.
Yeah. And so there are people who are going to be looking at that and working on that. And that could be something that we could send some recommendations to also. But I think what most people are saying, and this needs to happen, is a lot of it is about education.
Yep.
And people don't really understand
Yep.
what our transfer situation is like.
Yep.
And what needs to be done and what works and what doesn't work. And I was really surprised at how most people, and maybe Pam, you would disagree or agree with me, that they had no clue as to what was recyclable or not.
No, they
And
didn't.
right. And the other thing is, when I've been there, I have seen people throwing
Oh, yeah.
the plastic bag
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
the recycling bin.
And all kinds of other junk. I mean, it's really kind of astounding.
So, I wonder if, a recommendation, well, see, I don't know that really relates to COVID. And I think particularly now with all the stuff that's gone on in West Haven about COVID funds, that we need to be mindful of whatever we say, how that relates to COVID.
Has it ever
Because
been
I
put to
think there's
Ashford
going to
citizen?
be, wait just a second, Gwen, until I finish. There's going to be a lot of looking at that, and people, each town is going to be extra cautious about making sure that whatever they approve has a direct relationship to COVID.
Yeah, that's why I highlighted 4, 5, 8, and 9, because those to me directly relate to COVID. 4, 5, because it's making sure that the air is not bringing the disease everywhere. And 8 and 9, getting people out
Mhm.
inside. So,
Okay,
Well,
so
Loretta, I was just asking about the Ashford Citizen, if we've ever had it in there. Recyclables, exactly what goes where, or the
Yeah.
transfer station.
yes, we have many times.
Yeah.
We have put in the state regulations about what is going on for recyclables. We have a little place on our town hall website that says you can put in whatever it is and it will tell you whether it's recyclable or not. So we have done a lot of those things and have tried to reach out. People do have to get on the website and find it out or have to ask questions. There's no problem. We certainly could put in something again at some point. But it's just an ongoing issue, and it's important not to get totally frustrated by everything because it's a learning process and things are changing, you know, like things that used to be recyclable are no longer. And so there's all of the shifting that goes on, and there is a lot of confusion. And there are a lot of things that are put on like bottles that say recyclable when they're not.
Right.
So you've got a lot of confusion. The whole program has a lot of confusion with it. And I don't know, at some point, I believe they're going to put some sort of price on the nips. But that's going to take time. And also when you start bringing those in to recycle, you're going to have to come up with some containers that, some vending machines that will take those. Because right now, those machines that they have now are not going to be able to register nip bottles. You probably have to put in about 25 or something, stuff them in, or I don't know. But anyway, so all of that. So what I will do is from what everyone has, the input that people have given me, I will put some stars on certain things that we think are important and send that out to you. And then you can put your comments on it, whatever, and then we can send something in. Is that okay with people?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so does anyone have anything else that they want to quickly bring up? Okay, so what I will do is get that prepared and send that out whenever I do that. And I think that's it. So
Well, I have one thing I could say, one thing about climate mitigation. It's a book that we read for Joshua's Trust, Nature, Science, Environment. I just want to read one little quote in there by a Harvard biologist, E.O. Wilson.
Who just has a
Nature
biography.
Nature needs half. Only by setting aside half the planet or more in reserve can we save the living part of the environment and achieve the stabilization required for our own survival.
Yep.
But this has to be done in a balanced way. Okay, this just applies to every town should just think about it.
Yep.
yeah, really, exactly. Okay, well,
Years ago. That's not even new.
right. Everyone, have a good rest of the evening. I hope you've been able to get out during these gorgeous days.
Oh, yeah.
And have a good Thanksgiving. And we'll schedule for December.
Fourth
The
Monday.
3rd, it'll be still the 3rd Monday. And that should be okay because we were kicked out this time. So December should be okay. It's probably right before Christmas, but nonetheless.
Okay.
Okay.
Good.
Thanks,
All
everyone.
right,
Good
take
night.
care.
Thanks, Rose.
Bye.
Good night.
Bye-bye.